Path of Exile's patch 0.11.5 dropped today, and it's got some pretty interesting stuff on it. G'day, ZiggyD here, and the reason I'm playing on my Searing Bond Fire Trap Templar, which some of you guys might remember from one of my old build guides, is because this character both got nerfed and then extremely buffed in this patch. Pretty interesting stuff. So, in this video I'm just going to go over a few points of the patch that I find particularly interesting. But overall, this patch is pretty awesome. It's got some severe buffs in it for very specific builds. But overall, I think it's got some really cool changes in it, and certainly this build has been buffed overall. So let's talk a bit about that. First, though, I wanted just to say that some of the legendaries, the new uniques, have already been found, and they're pretty awesome. So far, I've seen a unique map and a unique caster claw, and both looking pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to doing my unique analysis video for those, and I even have some video footage for the map as well, which is pretty cool, that a streamer was kind enough to donate to me. But yeah, so let's actually go on to what's changed in this pack. Well, I pick off this guy. This guy's a pretty nasty one, but I should be able to use my fire trap and searing bonds to finish him off. There we go. But okay, so the first change is all skills that have a cooldown now share the same cooldown, even if you have multiple instances of that skill. So for example, with this build, I used to run this fire trap and another fire trap skill gem, separate skill gems, and they would have different cooldowns. Now, you know, the reason for that is I would have my powerful one here, I'd use 3 of those, and then that'd be on cooldown, and I'd have to use the other one. But to counter this, they've decreased the cooldown a lot of these skills. It's now 4 seconds cooldown. So as you can see, that cooldown's it feels a lot shorter, and it's actually hit this breaking point where I actually don't need that second fire trap gem now in this build. So overall, that's been a pretty significant buff for me, because before, you know, I just had this crappy fire trap skill gem. Now I can actually show this in action here. But I just had this crappy secondary fire trap skill then. So when I cast all 3 of these ones, I could cast the other one. But as you see now, they both share the same cooldown and the same amount of traps. So I can't throw 3 of these and then throw 3 of these. That's that ability has been removed. But with the reduction in cooldown, it's overall quite a bit of a buff for this particular character, because now I can pretty much just use exclusively my improved well-linked fire trap, and it's super effective. Now, the other point of buff for this character is that the burning ground effect of fire trap has been increased. Now, this, as you guys might recall, is a Burning Damage Templar. It's all about the burn damage. So, for example, if I just throw a trap there so I don't die. Oh, I got a passive reset. Anyway, I've got the burning damage nodes here, the 30. 15 and 15, and in my inventory I've got the burning damage from the searing touch, and that's what this build is focused on. Now, however, on the flip side of that, the initial burst damage, so the actual explosion of fire trap, has been reduced. So if you play a crit fire trap build, you know, trying to get ignites from the initial explosion, which in the past have been very powerful, that has been reduced a little bit. I think it's like a 20% reduction in damage. So a bit of a reduction there, but the burning ground effect is now much more useful. And what that means, all of these things combined, is that I can now just throw down my better fire trap. It cools down and I can keep using it. I don't have any problems. I can run a zone, and I've not encountered a point where my traps are ever on cooldown, really. Like I can throw one here, curse these guys, move on, they die. I can, throw one here, curse these guys, move on, they die. And I can keep doing it, and I'm never really hitting zero fire traps left. So it's a big increase in effectiveness, and having that increased burning ground damage makes the fire traps more effective as well. So I can more likely kill mobs with just the one fire trap than actually needing to cast most of them and get a bit of extra damage from the burst. So pretty cool stuff. Now, on a similar note, Bear Trap has been changed as well. Obviously, all traps now share that cooldown change, but Bear Trap has had its damage decreased at higher levels and increased at lower levels. So it's now a better leveling skill, and this is kind of in line, I think, with the change in cooldowns as well. So it's now a better leveling skill, but not quite as spammable for awesome single target DPS as it was before. So now you can only have one bear trap, and you can throw 3 of it down, and it deals a little bit less damage than what I've dealt before, but still probably pretty good single target, but not something you can use to down a boss, by having like 3 sets of bear traps on your toolbar, like some people would have had before. Now, this cooldown reduction has also changed a few other things. Firstly, cold snap builds probably aren't really working now unless they're using a bypass mechanic. But before, to bypass the bypass mechanic, so instead of using like power charges to bypass that cooldown, some people were having multiple instances of cold snap. Well, that's no longer viable anymore because they all share the same cooldown, unfortunately. Now, the next build that has been nerfed by this is one that was popularized by Creeparian, and that is the Burning Discharge build, which the name of that build just sounds so gross. Just so gross. Anyway, the Burning Discharge build used Enduring Cry to generate endurance charges to then use Discharge to discharge those endurance charges to deal fire damage, high fire damage. And this build will still work against large packs of enemies because you would be able to use your Enduring Cry. It'll go on cooldown. You'll get 6 charges, and then you'll be able to use your Discharge to burst that out, and that's fine. But the problem is when those builds face single targets. So if you're facing a map boss, rare pack, or if you're just trying to generate some charges off a single mob that's left. Before, what you would do is you would have multiple Enduring Cries. So you'd cast one, then you cast a second one, then you cast one, then you cast a second one to generate 4 endurance charges pretty quickly off one mob. Now, that's no longer viable because they share the same cooldown. You have to use that one endurance charge over and over again to generate those charges up. So that build, probably not so viable anymore, to be honest. Still be pretty effective in farming situations, but not so great against single target. Probably still work pretty well in parties overall, but yeah, a bit of a reduction there. Okay, so that just about covers the main changes. One other thing I wanted to mention is there's a new skill gem in the game called Empower. Now, I'm going to try and get my hands on one of these and level it up a bit and see how it goes, but that might take a while to get out because it's a bit of a weird skill gem. It has 3 levels. And it only starts to actually do something from level 2 onwards, and each of those levels requires quite a bit of extra experience, actually. So it's like it's supposed to be the equivalent. Leveling it to level 2 is supposed to be the equivalent of taking a gem from level 20 to 21 or something like that. So it's a good chunk of experience. It might take quite a bit of grinding to actually get it somewhere. But maybe I'll try and get one of those and make a video for you. The other change I wanted to mention is that the shadows the shadow option has been changed, and you now have no shadows. So I'll go ahead and apply this. Keep changes, there we go, no shadows, and we now have low shadows, and then high quality shadows. So if you guys are, trying to get your settings correct and make sure your frame rate's good, then you might want to have a bit of a play around with that, and that option's been improved a bit, and it seems to be a little bit nicer, but I'll just keep mine at high for now. But I think that just about covers it. Pretty awesome patch overall. As you can see, the Razor microtransaction footprint's also in effect there. Anyway, I'll bring you guys the unique analysis video pretty soon, sometime over the next 24 hours. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.